Fasten your seatbelts. It's going to be a bumpy night.
But tell me, Eddie, is that a rabbit in your pocket or you're just happy to see me?
Hello, everyone. Welcome. It's ironic that one of the clips that I have at the beginning of this stream is a movie from 1988, which so happened actually did not make my list. Not saying that like anything bad about Who Framed Roger Rabbit. I actually love that movie, but it was actually, I'll show you how many movies I have seen that I remembered from 1988. One page into the back, and I had to narrow it down to 10. So, but anyway, before I say hello to the chat, Sieg, let everybody know where they can find you and all that fun stuff.
Well, here in a month, when we do the happy news weird.
Well, it's kind of taken a turn to like predominantly weird shit.
Yes.
I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm just saying it's like just kind of like morphed into like just weird stories.
Yeah, maybe we should just call it weird shit.
Well, I'll figure something out. Because I'm not gonna put weird shit. Like I'm not gonna put shit on the thumbnail because YouTube does not like that. I'm like serious. One time I bleeped out a swear word on my thumbnail and they still hit me for that. So
Strange News Gazette.
No, I'm leaving that for Teresa. That's her characters. That's like her little, like, you know, characters creation in the Call of Cthulhu game.
Yeah. Now that had strange news last time.
Yes. So, but anyway, so yes. No, obviously you guys can find, well, maybe, yeah, or maybe weirder things or something like that. But I'll think of something and I'll create like a new thumbnail because I've been like working, like I kept the same thumbnail I've been using for the top 10s. But once we get into like, if we continue on from the 80s into the 90s, I'm going to like reworking my thumbnails, like, you know, testing some things, like as you saw with the Blade thumbnails. So I'm trying a new style basically.
Can I contribute to things that might be on the thumbnail?
I don't want to say yes because I know you, but what are you thinking?
Nothing yet.
I'm just saying it's like you are a mixed bag.
Well, just, you know, strange things.
So I'll figure out. It's I don't want it to be like a simple title like Strange Things. I want to kind of be creative, so I want to think about it.
No, you can come up with a title, just you know, faces or whatever to put on the thumbnail.
We'll see. But anyway, so for those who are kind of new to these streams, this is like we're not discussing the objectively classic films from 1988, basically, like, you know, the best films. These are on like personal subjective top 10 films. The films themselves, like chances are, like, you know, not objectively good, but subjectively we love, so therefore makes our top 10 lists. There was one film that like nearly made the list, but I switched it out for another film because, like, you know what, that the film that I put on my list is I had to include on this list because it was incredibly prescient. And for those who I know what I'm talking about based on how I described it, you have an idea of the film that's going to be in my top 10 list. But a film that I nearly added to the list was a movie called The Beast. And if you have not seen that film, it's actually a decent semi-war film. When I say semi-war film, I mean that it's like basically the tail end of the Russian invasion of Afghanistan in the late, like basically from like 1979 to the late 80s. All right, so basically it follows this tank crew, helmed by George Zunza's character, and it also stars Jason Patric among other actors in this film. And like they're part of the Russian invasion, and their tank gets separated from the rest of the tanks in the column because they take a wrong turn, and so the tank crew that we follow in this movie have to contend with the insurgents in Afghanistan. All right, so worth a watch, in my opinion.
Can I do an honorable mention as well?
Yeah, it like would have made the top 10 if I had not switched it out for another movie. But anyway,
well, Amsterdam. It's a slasher from the Netherlands.
Okay.
a disfigured diver is stalking the water channels in Amsterdam and grabbing people off, the street or whatever and slashing them. It's actually a very good movie.
Okay.
But yeah, had to leave it out. It's rather eerie, actually, as far as slashers go.
I'll have to try to find it. It's hard to kind of find foreign films, especially
Yeah.
when you're trying to go through like streaming sites. But yeah. But
I
anyway,
couldn't find it either.
Yeah, say hello to the chat. First off, I see Ms. Martin Muses. Hello, my partner in crime for Call of Cthulhu. And yes, my chat pissed themselves laughing when I told them.
Well, you're now butt buddies.
Yeah, pretty much. How our characters were introduced to the early 1990s.
You were holding your ass while you told that story.
I did this. I put my hands down on the seat.
It was on the buttocks for immersion.
No. And I know you don't know because there's no way to tell from my camera angle. So, Trey, I'm ready for this lit discussion. Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker. Yes. Thank you, Trey. Keely Chow, what is up? Bradley Scott, good to see you. Jaluk will be lurking, watching us on the big screen. Yeah. No worries, Jaluk. Tara Crystal says, 1988, Who Framed Roger Rabbit? Like I said, I had to leave that movie off my list because you had to narrow it down to 10. Coming to America, same thing, pretty much. Had to leave it off the list. Die Hard, Moonstruck, Beetlejuice, Fish Called Wanda, Willow, Twins. I nearly included Twins because it was like an odd fucking movie. It was a comedy. Like, I enjoyed the movie, but it's so fucking odd. When you consider the fact that it's Arnold Schwarzenegger and Danny DeVito as the twins. Colors, Great Outdoors, Red Heat, Shoot to Kill, Overboard, They Live, DOA. Yeah. Citizen Ronin, hello. Yeah, it was kind of it ended up being like another relatively tough year. I didn't think it would be the case. I knew there were certain movies that came out that year that would definitely be on the list, but then like those were like maybe 3 or 4 roughly. So I'm like, okay, I have to include 6 more on this list. Conroy came to chew bubblegum and kick ass, and he's all out of bubblegum. So, and yes, I'll be here along with on my Twitch streaming tomorrow. I'm like dual streaming. So yes, but I'll be live tomorrow playing some X-Defiant, testing out to see if they actually fix the shit they claim they're going to fix in the game. Psychotic Mongoose, hello. Mike Hill, hello. Orange Chat, what is up? Yeah. So many good movies. They're good, more than I remembered. Like I said, like I was like going through the list and like, oh shit, that came out in 1988. That came out in 1988. I forgot.
If you buy one of the movies from that year in Blu-ray, it'll be ADHD.
I need a clip of like, I'm thinking the monkey gif, like the stop motion animation monkey, the one that rolls his eyes and does a. I need that clip. Currently watching Predator for its anniversary. Oh yeah, it came out in '87. Yeah. So
it got released today.
I know, but it came out in '87, so I'm trying to like it'd be nearly 40 years old.
37.
Yeah.
My pun hurt Trey. I'm happy.
Yeah. Fixer, Morning from the UK. Also, Blade released in 1998. If you don't have it on your top 10, I'm calling for. Well, when we get to 1998, then obviously Blade will be on my list. But we're in 1988, so you're off by a little bit of 10 years. But don't worry, of course, Blade's going to be on my list. Come on, I did a 1s and 2s for those movies.
We'll actually get to it next year.
Yes. So it's going to be on my list.
Yeah, just tune in April or something.
Yeah. Kay Roberts, hello. Gaming or what? Good to see you. Geek Archivist Pierce, good to see you. Yeah, this is if you want, I guess, Soul Assassin is he's on the ball just about every time. So if you want to watch The Beast, there's the full film. Like I said, it's a pretty good film from 1988. Like I said, it stars Jason Patric and George Sunza, and it's kind of like one of those like it's that's pretty like like and the few other members that make up their tank crew is pretty much the cast, along with the insurgents who are kind of stalking them along the way, and like it's kind of like psychological also in terms of what happens with the crew itself. Galadorn, good to see you. Rambo takes out the tank, not quite, but close. Let's see. Even though I was born in the late 80s, there's a few that I saw from that time. Could use a few suggestions on sci-fi. Well, I've seen a lot of movies.
Watch all of our previous top 10s.
Yeah.
I think we're going to have 3 crossovers today.
Possibly. Taylor Swift, greater than Disney, Star Wars, and MCU, and Doctor Who. Well, as much as I want that woman to go away, you're not exactly wrong. But welcome. The film is part of our subculture at Armor School among our downtime at Fort Knox, which... We're talking about when I was talking about The Beast, because I'm kind of catching up with the chat, so I want to make sure that I'm like kind of going back on the conversation I had. That's the only one that kind of like makes sense that I was talking about with that comment. Dan, Mara, can we please take a moment to celebrate all the true lore that is being discovered that Tolkien forgot to add in his books? It's a wonderful time to be alive for the fans of good storytelling. Okay, chat, for those who are new, again, to my channel, at some point I'm going to fly to Australia, and I'm going to take my cosplay outfits with me, and I'm going to basically detail to you guys like which cosplay outfits I have, and I'm going to stream myself beating Dan Blackroyd while wearing one of the cosplays. All right.
Why does he get cosplay threats? I just get candles.
Yeah, because you do stuff to tick me off in D&D.
Yeah, but threaten to put on a cosplay and then the candle. I mean, seriously, you're holding back.
Okay. I don't think I have any cosplays that you would want, like that you would like. You don't like anime. You don't like anime, so you won't like Revy.
I do like Revy. I watched that one.
All right. Well, I have Revy cosplay.
Yes, dress up in a Revy cosplay, and deliver candles, and then toss me off a bridge.
All right, there you go.
Judo toss, but it has to be water beneath.
Okay.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, Dirty Ron Scoundrel.
Actually, better yet, we can go to the local store, and you could just do a random judo toss in there in front of people. Just
pretty much.
Yeah, just don't say anything. Just do the judo toss near the bread aisle or something.
So you have something soft to land on.
Yeah, and then I'll get up and just walk after you, and we'll go shopping. Just pretend nothing happened.
Anyway, yes, kick ass and chew gum, and I'm all out of gum. Yeah, I love that line. Whenever I see the term rim shot, for some reason I now always think of the Nice Guys, or the Nice Guys when Ryan Gosling's character his daughter does the rim shot thing, and then like she calls it a rim job.
Yeah.
And like it's like
that
in
movie's
public.
Fantastic.
And it's like in public, and he goes like, "What rim shot?" It's like what? Subhuman Mazda is a real horror. Mazda is basically a eldritch horror, pretty much. Thoughts on it? Sir Michael Caine is an awesome. Yes, I love Dirty Rotten Scoundrels. I love it. Yes, the Beast. Okay. I kind of got the notifications, Tara. I will look, but thank you very much. Very much appreciated. Yes, I have a Throne. It's kind of like equivalent to an Amazon wish list. But the reason why I like Throne is because it not only keeps my information, keeps my information from being doxxed, it keeps your information from being doxxed as well, just in case. So I don't expect people to purchase anything from it, but it's always appreciated. Anyway, Blade is not looking for a new director. That movie, the new Blade, has been in pre-production hell for so fucking long. They should just can it. First off, you can't do Blade PG-13. There's no fucking way you can do it. Secondly, I do not trust Disney at all. And thirdly, like I said, pre-production hell for the longest time, can it. It is dead before it's even gotten into production. Don't bother. Anyway, so what we do, Chad, is to get started on the list. Like Steve rolls a d20 to see which of us starts.
Yeah, I roll a d20 to make sure you start. That's what happens.
Sure. Your die just does not like me when it comes to creatures.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Well, the mech suit Hitler didn't like you.
No, I nearly died. Anyway. I'll do 1 through 10.
4.
See, it likes me here. It just doesn't fucking like me whenever I'm dealing with Mecha Hitler or creatures.
Dice.
Anyway,
yeah, you almost got killed by the what was it? Well, in this new game, it was an undead raccoon.
Yeah, that's a creature.
Combined with Teresa actually shooting you as well.
Yeah, she shot me.
Jersey Devil almost killed you.
Yep, that's a creature, cryptid creature.
Yeah.
I was nearly killed by like the 2 old fucks, but there was an alligator or a crocodile or like a giant crocodile, so there was still a creature involved in that.
Yeah, the Down Syndrome Ninja Turtles.
Yeah, I hate you for that too.
The one with the nunchucks.
Yes, nearly died there. Anyway, so my number 10, like I said, is like the movie that I switched out. Like The Beast became like an honorable mention, but this movie I had to include on the list because of how fucking prescient it ended up being. It's like one of those movies where it's like it should not be as prescient as it was. It should not have been as prescient as it was, and that is They Live from 1980.
I've actually never seen it.
You do need to see it.
Yeah, I absolutely I do. It's
Yeah,
just
it's
one of those where I've meant to see it, but then I ended up watching something else or something came up.
Yeah. So They Live stars Rowdy Roddy Piper, one of my mom's favorite wrestlers, as well as my favorite wrestler, because my mom is kind of like inspiration for me getting into watching wrestling. So Roddy Piper and Keith David, among others, and basically, it's basically by John Carpenter. It's one of John Carpenter. You might like it just because it is John Carpenter's one of his films, and it's a kind of a sci-fi action horror film mix, pretty much.
Yeah. Duke Nukem, the video game, ripped off a lot of lines from that movie and Evil Dead.
Yeah. Where basically it's discovered that you have this. I can't really say too much without giving stuff away, pretty much. But Roddy Piper's character plays a man named Nada. Okay, he plays a man named Nada who come to California in search of a job, and he's a preacher, kind of warning like they have recruited, like they are recruiting, like those like basically like curbside doomsayers, pretty much. Well, this like preacher is warning people that whoever this mysterious they has recruited the rich and powerful to control humanity, basically to make humanity consume, not think, consume, and and all that pretty much. So you see those gifs that people like post where it's like black and white, just says consume, like things like that. That's from They Live. Because at some point, Nada finds these glasses, which allows him to see these entities, all right, that are masquerading under human flesh, that are like basically responsible for what's going on in terms of like making humanity complacent and controlling their behavior and mindsets and making them buy certain things, and it's basically an indictment. It's basically an indictment, social commentary on, basically the public relations, advertising perspective, and so forth. But actually, it's prescient to what's going on now with the entertainment industry, and the don't think, just consume mentality amongst people, excusing what the entertainment industry is doing. It's basically it's an indictment on consumerism. And it's like evolved pretty much where it speaks both then because of the 1980s, the consumerism in the 1980s, and now. So, yeah, I believe the Ray-Bans, pretty much. The Ray-Ban sunglasses, pretty much. But they allow Nada, and like Keith David plays a character named Frank, to see past the facades of these like aliens. Right. And that's and without going into details of the movie, that's like the premise of the film. It's very much, it's basically a social commentary, but like it's basically told as a universal message through a science fiction, like horror film, basically. And it's John Carpenter. It's basically the time period where John Carpenter could do very little wrong, if anything, in terms of, like, the films he put out.
He was amazing in the 80s.
So I'm like, this is like one of his, like, in my opinion, one of his best ones, and I had to include it on this list. Like, normally would have been higher, but there's like certain films that like beat it out pretty much. But again, Sig, you do need to watch it because of the universal message within it, as well as the characters and the plot itself. So
it's been high up on my list of stuff to watch for a long time. I just haven't gotten around to it. But
and the lines, brother, life's a bitch and she's packing heat.
I'll watch it after the stream.
All right. But highlight some people's Miss Piper's Pit. I love Roddy Piper. One of his things he's quoted as saying is, "I never hit a man when he's down. I kick him. It's easier." But yes, rest in peace, Roddy Piper. But there's Critters 2, Bloodsport. I'm just looking through Cocktail, Elizabeth Shue. They live pretty much predicted like consumerism now, like in the 2020s, not just 2024, but like the 2020s with the entertainment industry and the people who excuse the race swapping, the sloppy seconds, and like everything the studios are doing. Just don't think, consume. Longest fist fights, yeah. That's the one between Nada and Keith David, because they get into a fight before Nada is able to, and like Keith David's Frank, and they get into a fight before Nada is able to convince Frank, no, you need to put this is what's happening. I'm saying he doesn't have that's why Nada means like nothing in Spanish, pretty much. So he's literally the man with no name in his name, Nada. But he's that's what he was referred to when you look up the movie. That's the name that in the cast that he's given. But literally man with no name. Jacob, good to see you. I'm just making sure I'm seeing. Yeah. Sleepaway Camp 2. Those movies are fucking strange. But Sleepaway Camp, that ending just burns itself into your memory. Yeah. Yeah. He's called Roddy Piper for a reason. But yeah. So yeah, that's my number 10. They Live.
My number 10 has been mentioned further up as a joke. It's Red Scorpion.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a Rambo Commando-ish movie starring Dolph Lundgren and Emmett Walsh. Brian James is in it as well. Lundgren plays a Russian Spetsnaz, which is basically a Green Beret on the Russian side, or a Russian commando.
Spetsnaz is yeah.
It's an elite.
Yeah, it's very it's basically the elite in Russia. That's what they used in the remake of Red Dawn to make sense that North Korea could at all invade America. But go ahead.
Yeah. Anyway, he is. It takes place in an African country, and the Russians are trying to take out an African rebel leader. And they picked Lundgren to do it. He screws up, gets busted, and then gets tortured by his own and left to die in the desert. Where he teams up with a Bushman and goes on a self-discovery thing, and then teams up with the rebels and kicks ass. That's the movie. And they have the Long Tall Sally thing playing in it too when there's action. So totally didn't take that from Predator. But it's Oh, Trey hasn't seen it? What's wrong with you? It's a great action movie. It's oozing of the 80s, you know. But I'm not gonna say it's a masterpiece or anything like that. It's just a really fun 80s action movie. If you like Rambo 2 and Commando and stuff like that, you're gonna like this one. And I think the Bushman is played by the same one that's in the Gods Must Be Crazy movies.
Mm-hmm. I'm trying to remember because I think I've seen Red Scorpion, but like there's been a lot of movies I had to leave off, even like making the overall list because I was looking at them going, I'm looking at the titles going, I know I've seen.
I had to put it in because it's one of my friends had it on VHS.
So, but hey, Falcon,
you just rewatched the movies you had access to in the 80s, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I had to go back and like actually watch it because there's movies, as I said, where like even with the other lists, I'm like, I know I've seen this, but
yeah,
not recently enough to go, okay, I remember enough about it to say whether or not I liked it or not.
Well, Trey has another movie to review now. I mean, he hadn't even heard of it. What the hell's wrong with him?
The 80s was like pretty much like the 80s and even into the 90s was like like a peak time for cinema.
Yeah, heck, even a lot of the direct to VHS movies were great.
Yeah.
I mean, Tremors flopped at the cinema, but made bank on the VHS market.
A lot of movies like were like that, became like basically cult classics after bombing at the box office.
Yeah.
I see that poster back there, chats. Buckaroo Banzai. Weird as fuck movie. Bombed because they were planning on a sequel, became a cult classic afterwards. That's what happens. Yeah, well, but still, like, like I'm guessing maybe Hollywood needs to like get back on the like snorting lines of cocaine because maybe they'll come out with like something that's actually fucking original. It could be weird as fuck. It could be weird as fuck, but it would be original. Just do some lines before doing your pitch meetings.
At least make it entertaining instead of a lecture.
Yes,
that's it.
That is actually, I believe, a Confucius quote, Soul Assassin, but Buckaroo says, no matter where you go, there you are. I think that's actual Confucius quotes. But he said, when I first heard that, I was like, just laughed. But again, it's a weird fucking movie. It's objectively not good, and it would not be made today because the aliens are played by black actors with Jamaican accents. Hey, American Discord. Like, it's a weird fucking movie. It's a weird movie. So I'm not. So if I recommend it to you guys, I'm not recommending it because it's objectively good. I'm recommending it because it's right here. It's trippy. Anyway, but there. So that's what number 10s. All right, we're on number 9, and that's your turn.
Well, I have a comedy. I have a few comedies on today, actually. A Fish Called Wanda, which is a heist farce comedy.
Yeah, I leave it on the list. I include another kind of comedy like that.
Yeah. Well, it stars Michael Palin and John Cleese, Jamie Lee Curtis, and Kevin Kline, all of which shine in this movie. If you like dogs, you might not like this one because they kill a lot of dogs in it, poodles.
Yeah, I like dogs. I have a dog, so probably the reason why I've seen it once and like no more because of that.
Yeah, Michael Palin's an animal lover, and he's tasked with killing an old lady, and he
Yeah.
accidentally kills. Every attempt ends with one of her poodles getting killed.
Yeah, I'm like,
Well,
uh,
it was funny in this one though. It wasn't
I was
like
saying, like, it's like
animal
most times it's
cruelty.
like, not because like, the movie's bad, but because like it's because of that. I'm like, okay,
Holy crap! Trey hasn't seen this one's gold. Trey. Kevin Kline alone is worth it. Really, he shines in it. Plays a narcissistic idiot. Really. Yeah. Uh, Great comedy, and they also teamed up in the '90s for a spiritual sequel where they play new characters. It takes place at a zoo. Um, that one wasn't as good, but it was still pretty good.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you haven't seen A Fish Called Wanda, go watch it. It's at least an 8 out of 10.
yeah, the movie itself is like overall really good, but like I said, like it's like being the animal lover that I am that I get from my mom. Sometimes like part of the reason why I don't like watch movies again is
Well,
if anything
just
like, involves animals like that.
animals are people. Just pretend that those particular animals were shit people.
Maybe because like there's like a meme. Yeah, like again, it's like it's like basically like one side's reaction, like like when people get killed in movies, and it's basically like a deadpan Kanye face, and then the other side it's like basically the screaming, crying kid face, like if an animal gets killed. Kind of me.
Yeah.
Dog soldier. Yeah, like I skip over that part watching the movie.
This is why I can't. This is why I can't use killer animals in a horror game for D&D.
Yeah, me, and
yeah, she's to blame.
Yes, because he did that. I got pissed off at him, and like during a scenario during regular D&D, and it's like it's like basically that's off limits.
Yeah, well, they were being hunted, and they had hunting dogs. I didn't think any past that.
Yes, but see you, Kay. Okay, hope you have fun. Oh, wait. Hope you have a good day. Is what I meant to say.
Yeah, and rest in peace, Clobby.
Yeah.
Good people. I was on a stream with him once, and he showed off. I think it was Marvel action figures. He had a shit ton of them, a lot. It was awesome to look at.
So, yeah, and I think there's a GoFundMe going around. I saw it like on Twitter for his children. But anyway, my number 9 is a Tim Burton film that's like, say what you will about current Tim Burton films, is one of like the ones I very much enjoy because I very much enjoyed Tim Burton's aesthetic. It's like trippy, strange, emo-esque, goth in a way, in terms of like certain aspects, basically. But like I very much loved his aesthetic and his like like how he creates the scene, like the scenes and the scenery for his films. But this one I had to include Beetlejuice. Yes, it is Beetlejuice because I had to include it because I like, for one thing, Michael Keaton's performance in the title role is phenomenal. Pretty much, remember, like this is the man that played Batman in 1989's Batman, and when he was cast as Batman, people were like, "Isn't that Mr. Mom? Isn't that Beetlejuice?" Like, people don't fucking change, pretty much, because they look at an actor and they that's the actor from this role. If he couldn't possibly play something else entirely different, no matter the fact that he is an actor, well, Michael Keaton, in my opinion, proved them wrong, pretty much. But and that's ironically another Tim Burton film, Batman 1989. You can tell based on the style and so forth. But anyway, talking about Beetlejuice. But anyway, Michael Keaton stars as the title role, titular character, I should say, Beetlejuice. But the film is actually, the focus is on two characters, a husband and wife, played by Alec Baldwin. He's an asshole, but played by Alec Baldwin, and Gina Davis, who die in an accident, after they move into basically their dream dream home. So basically, they die, and because they cannot leave their home, they're pretty much haunting the premises. And this other family moves in, it's like short time later. Father played by Jeffrey Jones, mother played by Catherine O'Hara, and the daughter played by Winona Ryder, who's basically she's more of an emo than a goth, but she's kind of like towing that line, pretty much. But anyway, she's kind of like basically not everyone's crush, but if you like goth girls, if you like emo girls, emo chick, she was everyone's like crush, like her character. So that family moves in, and the husband and wife, the dead husband and wife, kind of like want them to leave. So they try haunting their house, but they're really not good at it. They're not good at it, so they enlist the services of Beetlejuice, played by Michael Keaton, basically described as a bio-exorcist kind of creature from the netherworld to rid the house of this family. But Beetlejuice has his own agenda when it comes to certain things, pretty much. I don't want to say too early. I don't want to say too much if you have not seen the movie, because it's like Michael Keaton pretty much steals the show and steals every scene he's in as the character. No worries, Gravy. Good to see you. Was an early actress crush, yeah. Like she pretty much was people's crushes back then.
I'm gonna piss off the chat and say I don't like that movie.
Mm-hmm. See, so yeah, Alec Baldwin before he was a fuck, pretty much. But that's like the overall premise of the movie. Not going into any details. It's just like they enlist the services of Beetlejuice without realizing that Beetlejuice is not one to basically listen to what he's being told. He has a mind of his own, and what he wants, he typically goes for, and he kind of becomes what the husband and wife, the dead husband and wife, have to deal with, following them taking on his services. So, but yeah, I love Tim, especially Tim Burton's early work, the aesthetic, the scenery, the atmosphere Tim Burton creates in his films. And so
nailed it with the Batman movies and Sleepy Hollow.
Well, Batman movies, basically the fact, Tim Burton, and then having him create Gotham was perfect, because Gotham is a character in itself, and with Tim Burton's weirdness and eye for certain elements within scenes, it worked. So Brian hated A Fish Called Wanda. So,
oh, that's perfectly fine.
Hey, fuck Norris. But anyway, I included Beetlejuice on my list as number 9. So I'm saying it's not every. I don't love every Tim Burton movie, because his Planet of the Apes was did not work. But I like Sleepy Hollow. I even like Dark Shadows. Granted, I never really watched the original series, but I enjoyed Dark Shadows for what it was. So, not his best, but I enjoyed it. Anyway, that's my number 9, Beetlejuice. So my number 8, I actually have 3 horror films on my list. And the one that I included at number 8 is the reason why I will not have any fucking life-size dolls in my house or anywhere I fucking live. I see anything if any of them wherever I go, I am basically cunt punting them into the wood chipper, and that is Child's Play. This movie
that was 88, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was 88.
Damn it. That would have been on my list.
Yes. So, but Child's
You know what? I'm going to remove Red Scorpion and put Child's Play.
Well, but so basically, this movie pretty much single-handedly destroyed, made me very much not want any life-size type dolls anywhere near me. And basically the premise is Brad Dourif, an amazing actor, by the way, doesn't give enough credit, I think, that he deserves, because he's an underrated actor, in my opinion.
Oh, hell, check him out on Deadwood.
Yes. Stars as a serial killer named Charles Lee Ray. And the beginning of the film pretty much is him running away from the cops. And he's wounded, knowing that he's pretty much about to die. Like, he's either going to be arrested or die from his wounds in the shootouts, like, running from the cops. He performs this voodoo ritual, pretty much, where he puts his soul into a good guy doll. Because the dolls themselves are called good guys, and they're given like each one has a different name, pretty much. But he puts his soul into this good guy doll, which so happens to have been found by a homeless man, and then just so happens to be bought by a woman, played by Catherine Hicks, whose son Andy loves the Good Guy series, and because so she's able to afford a doll now because it's she's not buying it through normal circumstances. So she buys him that for his birthday, and it's the doll that happens to have the spirit of Charles Lee Ray. So that's where Chucky comes from, the character Chucky, played basically young Alex Vincent. Yes, the actor who plays Jerry Dandridge is in it, pretty much. Post Fright Nights. Yeah, this is the end, friend. One of the goddamn Brian. Anyway, one of the scenes in this movie that I just die laughing at. It's like the movie, the scene itself is really not supposed to in terms of scenario, not exactly supposed to be funny, but I love how Brad Dourif delivers the line, and that is when this elderly couple are in the elevator in the apartment where Catherine Hicks lives with her son, and the woman notices the doll, and she just comments as they're getting off the elevator, "Ugly doll," and just as the elevator just continues to go up, you hear Chucky go, "Fuck you." I think it's just how Brad Dourif delivers that line that I just laugh at it. But it's pretty much like a serial killer doll. And at one point, Chucky discovers that he needs to transfer his soul to the kid, so that way he doesn't become trapped in the good guy doll. Burnt Chucky, it's very much. And what I appreciate about the first movie is that it's even though deep down it's the doll, it still has a premise of it could be that Andy is a little bit touched, because you never really see much of anything. You never see it. That you see it from the doll's perspective, so for all it could have been Andy that did a couple of things, until it's it's blatantly obvious that it is the doll. But at the same time, it's they don't just come out and do the reveal. Pretty much, they leave that that is it or isn't it open for a while in the movie, and then it becomes where it's a survival, survival, because Chucky's not going after Andy. So, I didn't bother with the remake, especially when they altered the origin of the Chucky, because you can't have Chucky without Charles Lee Ray, and they did not include that in the remake. But anyway, that is my number 8, Child's Play. So, I think that's what they were going with pretty much at the time. They had that My Buddy doll. So basically they took that concept. They said, what if we take that concept and have a serial killer put his soul into one of these dolls and make it a psychological horror film? Anyway, there you go. But that's my number 8.
You know what? The sequel is actually even better.
Oh yeah, I did watch parties for the first and second one. So in terms of like slasher, it's better because it's an actual slasher movie, whereas this one is more like is this happening or isn't it happening kind of thing. It's a slow burn. But anyway, Child's Play number 8.
Yeah. It's my turn.
Yes. Oh, Mickey.
Well, I have another VHS favorite. The one that put Van Damme on the map, Bloodsport,
Mhm.
which is martial art contest taking
Mhm.
place in Hong Kong, I think. Van Damme joins, runs off from the military or something like that to join, and
Mhm.
Forrest Whitaker and someone else is chasing him to get him back. Um, great fighting in it. Not much story at all. Donald Gibb is in it, providing some good comedic relief, I guess.
Mhm.
He's great in it. But you'll watch it for the fighting, and some of the, at least one of them would get the movie canceled today because there's an African one in there
Of course.
who fights like a monkey.
Hmm. Well, there is a
Um,
monkey style when it comes to like kung fu. Isn't there like monkey style?
no, this guy was from Africa. It was not a kung fu thing at all.
Mm.
But so yeah, that would get it canceled. But still, it's a fun martial arts contest movie. The action's superb. The soundtrack is great. I think Stan Bush had a song in there called "Fight to Survive."
Hmm.
Yeah, that's it. There's not much to say
Yeah,
about
the
it.
soundtracks in the 80s are better too. There's some good soundtracks nowadays. Like The Fall Guy has a really good soundtrack. I enjoyed the soundtrack in Bullet Train, but more often than not, they're just nowadays subpar to what we got in the 80s and 90s.
You know what? They did a movie that just came out. It was crowdfunded. It's called The Last Kumite, which is the name of the blood sport competition,
Hmm.
Kumite. And they had Stan Bush did 2 new songs for it. They had the villain from Kickboxer was in it. The villain from Lionheart with Van Damme. Cynthia Rothrock was in it.
Mhm.
Bit of a low budget, but holy shit, did that movie have heart? It came out. It just came out.
Yeah.
So yeah, The Last Kumite, okay movie from 2024, crowdfunded by fans for fans. So yeah, watch Bloodsport on that one.
So. Okay.
Yeah, that was my
So
number 8.
number 7.
It's my turn again.
Yes.
I have a sci-fi horror movie, kind of. The Blob. I think this is the.
I've seen that, but I was not. I didn't like it as much as the original. The original was okay, but the
I've
remake,
never
I was like,
I think this is the second time it's remade, actually, because I think they did one in the 70s too. But yeah, meteor crashes in a
Mhm.
small town. Um, has like a thing on it that's a blob. It grows the more it eats.
Yeah.
Has some pretty cool kills. Drags one guy down the drain of a dishwasher thing, and the diner kills a lady inside. It wraps around a phone booth and blobs the lady inside it, and also it kills a kid. That's something you don't really see often, because kids are kind of sacred in horror movies. They don't kill them off. This one did. Um, was it Kevin Dillon plays the lead, and the lady that's in a lot of the Saw movies
Hmm.
is in it. But cheesy sci-fi horror flick, utterly 80s.
Okay. Yeah, definitely. Like I said, I know I've seen the movie. I just because it has Kevin Dillon in it, right? As like the
Yeah.
main character, and I'm like, I was not a fan.
Well, that's a shame.
So it was Son of the Blob, yeah, because the original had Steve McQueen. So that's one I prefer. Okay, my number 7 is another horror film that with a creature that I don't think gets enough love in terms of like within the horror genre, because it's not, for some reason, not as well known. I think as it should be, because like this movie is actually, I think, a decent, very decent horror film, and the sequel is actually not bad either, and that is Pumpkinhead. Stars Lance Henriksen. Okay, and basically the premise with Pumpkinhead,
and he actually shines in it.
Yeah.
The
premise with Pumpkinhead is
great.
basically it's a creature that is like basically is risen when someone seeks revenge on someone or some persons, like whatever it is, and basically, Lance Henriksen, who witnesses essentially Pumpkinhead. Basically, the movie opens up in like the 1950s, and this family, basically, it's like a father, mother, and a son, refuses to allow like the man to come in and seek sanctuary in their cabin, because this man is being hunted by Pumpkinhead. And basically the legend is that we find out later on in the movie that anyone who tries to interfere with Pumpkinhead or tries to help those Pumpkinhead is targeting, they become marked as well. So pretty much that's why the family refuses to allow this man to come into their cabin, and Lance Henriksen's character, as a child, witnesses what happens to the man outside the cabin. Fast forward years later, basically present day, Henriksen's character's son is accidentally killed by these teenagers, and in his grief and anger, he goes to a witch and to get her to help him exact revenge on these teenagers, which in turn Pumpkinhead rises again. And we find, and it's basically like Pumpkinhead continues on his revenge quest until basically those who are sought revenge against are eliminated. And again, if you try to interfere in any way or help those it's targeting, you become marked as well. So it's kind of like almost a never-ending cycle in a way. It is. It's pretty much a revenge film, but there's more to it because Lance Henriksen's character kind of realizes something about Pumpkinhead as the movie progresses, which causes him to kind of like have a little bit of character development sort of situation, in terms of like what's going on. But it's a horror film. It's basically a horror film and a revenge film in one. And like I said, I don't think Pumpkinhead gets enough love within the horror genre.
Yeah, completely agree.
Because like this movie, and then like I said, the sequel is actually not bad either. It's not that bad either. It's like similar premise, obviously, but I think in terms of like actually a decent sequel. So yeah, but if you have not seen Pumpkinhead and you like the horror genre, I recommend at least watching the first film with Lance Henriksen, and getting a feel for the titular character. That's like, you look at the thumbnail, that's what Pumpkinhead looks like.
So. Trey is getting a hell of a lot of bangers to watch today.
Yeah. So I think so, but at the same time, I don't know for sure. And if it did not happen, I'm glad, because I don't trust Hollywood with remakes nowadays. I know Hollywood has been remaking their own films for decades, but particularly now, I do not trust them. But yeah, basically, it's like a revenge horror film with a creature. So a creature revenge horror film.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
So-
exactly what it is.
There it is. So, actually, one of the sequels is on my list. The only good sequel, the only decent sequel to happen for the Hellraiser series. But anyway, that's my number 7, Pumpkinhead. So we're on number 6, and my number 6 was a movie mentioned a while back in the chat, and that stars Michael Caine and Steve Martin as a pair of they don't exactly work together, but they are both con men.
I thought that one was going to be your number 1.
No, there's another movie that like made a number 1. But they're both con men. They both have different approaches. They both have the different styles to conning women. And Michael Caine kind of has his territory essentially marked. And Steve Martin's character is kind of encroaching on that territory. So they get to a point where it's like they make a bet. And the first one to win said bet, the other one has to leave. All right. And the bet involves conning a woman that they choose. And that woman is played by Glenn Headley. All right. Basically, her character's name is Janet. And so basically the whole, throughout the most of the movie is them trying to con this woman by any means possible. Any means possible, just to see who wins, who has to leave. Yeah, May goes to the bat. The Rupert the Monkey Boy scenes are just fucking, in my opinion, fucking hilarious. But yeah, it's it's because it starts out with them kind of working together, but it's more or less because Michael Caine's trying to get rid of Steve Martin's character, and then they get the bet going. All right, and I cannot say any more about that movie because there is a twist. There is a twist in this film, and it's actually a good twist. It's actually a twist that makes sense, but I can't say anything more because I will risk revealing what said twist is. But Dirty Rotten Scoundrels, 1988, and it's actually, I believe, directed by Frank Oz, who voiced a number of the Muppets.
Yoda.
Yes, he directed. He worked on this movie. So, and it's kind of basically Michael Caine brings a certain style of humor. Steve Martin brings another certain style of humor, and in a weird way, in my opinion, they mesh well. Yeah, because Trey didn't see this one either. So, okay, Trey, add another one to your list. Dirty Rotten Scoundrels. And Dirty Rotten Scoundrels is actually a remake of a movie called Pillow Talk, which I think it's from the 1960s, and that movie was, in my opinion, not good. So don't bother with the original. This is one of the rare times I'd say don't bother with the original. Just watch the remake.
Yeah, we won't see Trey for weeks now.
Yes. So Dirty Rotten Scoundrels with Michael Caine, Steve Martin, and Glenn Headley. Oh, and also has Ian McDermott in it, who is better known as the Emperor in Return of the Jedi. He plays a part in this film as well. So you got the Emperor in this movie also, who has some pretty fucking funny lines, in my opinion. But yeah, I forgot Ian McDermott is in that film as well. I almost included Alien Nation just because James Caan and Mandy Patinkin, but I had to narrow it down to 10. So yeah, also directed What About Bob? Yeah, so Frank Oz. Yeah, but anyway, Dirty Rotten Scoundrels is my number 6.
Yeah. My number 6 is probably the weakest in the series, maybe. But I have to include it because I've seen it 100 times. Rambo 3. I
wanted to include it, but at the same time, I was like, ugh. Just can't, guys. Keep it at 10.
Yeah, it's... that one and 5 are not too good, but Richard Crenna gets to do more in this.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, it starts with Richard Crenna.
I think Part 7 came out in 1988. Or was it 8? Part 8. One. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Say one. Go ahead. Sorry.
Anyway, Richard Crenna and the villain from RoboCop seeks out Rambo, and I think he's in Thailand or something, doing pit fights with sticks. Meeting him for a mission. Rambo declines. Richard Crenna does the mission instead. It's in Afghanistan, gets captured by the Russians. And Rambo has to go in and team up with the Taliban, actually.
There was actually a group of insurgents that if the Western powers had been smart, they would have allied themselves with them instead of the Taliban, but our politicians are retards. Go ahead.
Yeah. Anyway, he learns their ways and teams up with them, kicks ass, rescues Crenna, and then there's a major shootout. And then we won't see Rambo again until 2008.
Yeah.
So I don't think this movie was a huge success, since it took a while for more sequels. You know.
Yeah.
It's straightforward.
I think so. Wasn't
No, that's
There was-
four.
it was
got-
4? I knew there was one that banned he got banned from a country.
Yeah, he's banned from Burma.
Yeah.
This is a straight up sequel. It has, lackluster sequel syndrome, I think. It's good enough to watch, though. It's not a horrible movie. It's just 1 and 2 were so much better, and 4 as well was way better.
Yeah.
Rambo 3. I even had the video game on PC, which was more of a puzzle game, actually.
Orange says he isn't just banned from Burma; he has a shoot-on-sight order from their government. So.
Yeah. Anyway, Rambo 3.
All right, and that's our number 6s. So you start number 5.
Yeah, number 5 is another comedy. Another one a friend of mine had on VHS. I recently got it on Blu-ray, actually. I've been searching for it forever, and then all of a sudden I found it. The Great Outdoors.
Another movie that again did not make the list, but I guess I showed the chat how many movies I had, just writing down that I've seen from 1988.
Yeah,
that I remember seeing.
Yeah, I'd call it a family comedy.
Yeah, I prefer Uncle Buck, but I do like The Great Outdoors. Actually, I think I Uncle Buck and Planes, Trains, and Automobiles.
Yeah, that one's even better.
Yeah.
This is kind of a feel-good family comedy that you can watch over and over again. It's safe to put on in front of kids. There's nothing sexual. There's no lewd jokes at all. Basically, John Candy takes his family to takes them on a vacation near where Sierra Studios had their office. It's the same place. So that's where Leisure Suit Larry was made. And the adventure game genre was born through King's Quest. It's right in the neighborhood. Anyway, his sister shows up with his, brother-in-law, played by Dan Aykroyd, he's basically a bit of a shit. Exploits his family and kind of a snob. It turns out he's there to leech off of them because he's not doing as well as he boasts.
Yep.
And kind of starts ruining their vacation by taking it over.
Shocker. Yeah.
Yeah.
There was another vacation film that John Candy starred in, and I think it's actually decent. I can't remember but this vacation, he takes them to like this like beach, like seashore, and ends up competing in like a boat race. I gotta look it up because I can't remember what it's called.
Yeah, there's some boating in this too. Dan Aykroyd trying water skiing, which is hilarious.
It's not Uncle Buck. No, it's a family vacation. I gotta look up John Candy. Summer Rental. Yeah, I think that's it. Summer Rental. Let me look it up. Thank you, Brian.
Anyway, this movie objectively, it's kind of like a 7, but it's so rewatchable, you know, and you could put it on in front of anyone.
I'm trying to think.
Well, Jacob Warren said we are doing movies from the 80s, but we're doing specific years.
Yeah.
So we're doing 88.
Yeah, I think it's like a Summer Rental. Yeah, because that's one thing where it's like another vacation film with him.
Next month, Jacob will be doing our favorite movies from 1999. No, 89.
89. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Summer Rental. Cause I'm like, there's an actor, Richard Crenna. Rip Torn. Yeah, I was going to say, like, Rip Torn stars in it as well. So, and like I said, he joins a boat race, so that way like, he can like afford to continue staying at the Summer Rental. Hey, Dontra.
Rip Torn usually plays an asshole.
Mm-hmm.
Probably because he looks like one.
I've seen a lot. When I say I've seen a lot of movies, I'm not saying necessarily that I might. Like when I say a lot, then I'm sure there's people who've seen more than me, but I've seen quite a bit. So, but yeah. So,
as for 89, you know what? I think 1989. You and I are going to have the same top 2.
Probably. Yeah, like we did. I think at one point we did our top films for like the overall decade, but now we're like doing specific years.
Yeah.
So, but yeah. So my number 5. If you're done, sorry.
Oh yes.
Okay. My number 5 is because Trey brought up my favorite horror film. I would really have to think about that because there's a genre I like gravitate to. It is the horror genre, and so it depends. Like, are you talking psychological horror? Are you talking slasher? Are you talking supernatural? Are you talking kind of teen scream? Are you talking? Because like one of my favorites is the original Fright Night, but that's like if you're talking vampire, you're talking werewolves, are you talking? It's like it kind of. Not to sound anal neurotic, but I can't just say favorite horror film because there's like different subgenres within the overall genre that I can't say a favorite. Yeah, but Halloween 1978, I love the original Hellraiser. I love Alien. I consider a horror film. That's psychological horror. I love
Jaws will always be my favorite.
Jaws. It's more of a horror film. Gremlins, more of a dark comedy, but there is horror elements in it. Do I have any other clues of the job? Phantasm? I like Phantasm. Exorcist. Oh my god, Exorcist. If they had kept a scene in Exorcist that was in the director's cut, I probably would have pissed my pants watching that. But Exorcist, I love the Exorcist. I actually read the book too. Books are actually decent. Movie I think does a better job. But the book itself is actually pretty good. Yeah. But I love The Exorcist. Anyway. Okay, so my number 5 is another horror film. And it's kind of mentioned in a little bit, Trey, when you mentioned how Hellraiser, they did not have any good sequels, or very few good sequels. And this is really the only good sequel to the first Hellraiser movie that we get. And that is Hellbound, Hellraiser 2. And it's ironic that Hellraiser 2 is called Hellbound because Hellraiser is based off a Clive Barker book called The Hellbound Heart.
3 wasn't bad, though.
I'm saying it wasn't bad, but post 3, it goes downhill. Like, almost fast. Because a lot of the times when you get the Hellraiser sequels, it's kind of like, oh, we have this idea for a movie, but let's just throw Pinhead in there, and we'll call it Hellraiser this. pretty much. Even though the premise for the movie has nothing fucking to do with Hellraiser or Pinhead or Hellraisers or anything like that. You know, and 4 was like pretty much a retcon. But this is like really 3 was okay, 3 was decent, but in terms of sequels, 2 is the best following the original Hellraiser film. That's Hellbound, Hellraiser 2, and it basically kind of picks up where the first movie leaves off. It has a kind of a similar premise in the sense that you have a character from the first film that's trying to come back because she's been sucked back into the hell run by the Cenobites. But I also appreciate they kind of get the origin story for the Pinhead character, where he like what he used to do when he was basically when he was a normal human being, as well as like finding out how the Cenobites get their looks, and their looks are basically kind of based on a little bit of how they died, how they lived, and things like that, and then you comes up with that, like how like the different looks for the Cenobites. Without the skin, pretty much. So, and like it follows the daughter Kirsty from the original film, and she's basically in an asylum because like who's going to believe her that like these demons from another world took her stepmother and this dead guy who was committing murder so he could come back from the dead and escape the Cenobites and so forth, pretty much. Yeah, the last one was Kirsty. And pretty much like it's her like realizing that they are returning, like something's going on, as well as protecting this young girl, because this young girl kind of has a weird connection of sorts with what's going on. I don't want to get into details. I have to be as general as possible, especially if you've not seen the sequel. But yeah, I'm saying like I think
it starts off right where the first one ended.
Yeah, I'm saying like but I don't want to give too much away because you haven't seen the movie. I don't want to reveal kind of like what's going on with the girl that Kirsty's trying to protect. What's going on with the one who's trying to escape the Cenobites in this movie and so forth. So, but Hellbound, Hellraiser 2 had to include because Pinhead actually made my number 1 on top 10 slasher killer murders list kind of a thing that we did top 10 a while back, because as much as I love Michael Myers, you see Pinhead show up, you're pretty much fucked.
Yeah. Eventually, it's gonna get you.
Yeah, so I'm saying it's like Michael Myers, you can outrun for a little bit. I love Michael Myers. I love the description of Michael Myers. I love the movies for the most part. Kind
of stupid in the new movie where they have like a junkie outsmarting Pinhead.
Yeah, I'm saying like I'm not including the new movie, but I'm like to say when you see like Doug Bradley's Pinhead show up, you're like, okay, fucking take me. I'm dead anyway. You can't fucking escape them, pretty much. And it's only through sheer luck and intelligence that you're able to survive. So,
have you seen the interview that a kid does with Doug Bradley?
See Orange Hat? No, I haven't.
He's the nicest guy ever. Completely normal. That interview is great.
Yeah,
being interviewed by a 10-year-old or something.
Yeah, pretty much. I was like, you know what? I'll join you. Like, you're gonna kill me anyway. I'll just join you guys. Like, that's what I'd be like. Like, you're gonna kill me anyway. Yeah, just don't open the puzzle box. That's what I love about horror films. Is like they have actually simple rules that no one wants to follow. Like, just no one wants to follow it. The reboot of Evil Dead. Don't read this book. What does the asshole do? He reads the book. Ash
vs. Evil Dead 2, he reads when he's high with a hooker.
I'm just saying, it's like I as much as I love horror films, like most of the slasher ones in particular have easiest rules to fucking follow. Essentially, just don't do this, and guess what? You'll survive.
Remember when they did a spoof on that on they had that double feature with Planet Terror and the one with Kurt Russell.
Death Proof. Death Proof was the better of the two, but yeah.
Yeah, and they had those fake commercials.
The trailers,
They,
yeah.
they had a movie just called Don't.
Yeah.
So as soon as someone did anything, they died.
Yeah, don't. Yeah, pretty much. And they actually came out recently with a Thanksgiving serial, like slasher movie, that was inspired based on a fake trailer from the Grindhouse films.
Yeah, they made Machete out of it.
No, Thanksgiving. Like recently, a Thanksgiving slasher movie called Thanksgiving, and it was basically taking that fake trailer and making a real movie out of it.
They need to do the SS werewolf women too.
So, but yeah, so that is my number 5, Hellbound, Hellraiser 2.
Yeah, good one.
And number 4 is a comedy. So kind of like the movie, like, you know, where you had The Fish Called Wanda. It's kind of like a farce of sorts and so forth. I said I had another movie kind of like that in a way, and that is The Naked Gun.
I have that one too.
Yeah, with Leslie Nielsen, O.J. Simpson.
He kills it.
George
Sorry.
Kennedy. Kennedy, yeah.
Yeah, George Kennedy.
And
Priscilla
at
Presley.
least, yeah. So, and Ricardo Montalban, who's probably better known amongst sci-fi fans as playing Khan in The Wrath of Khan from Star Trek II. Yes, but The Naked Gun, and it's pretty much the Zucker brothers. It's basically like dry humor, but done perfectly. Like basically like taking it like a serious scenario, but like just perfectly balancing it with, like, you know, showing it like in a comedic light.
Yeah, and you know what? John Cleese was talking about how to best do humor, and he said the stuff that always works best is when you say it with sincerity.
Yeah.
You don't goof up the lines, and that's what they did in this.
Yeah,
They're
it's
dead
like,
serious when they're saying
like,
everything.
It's like Airplane.
Yeah.
They're dead serious when they're saying the lines.
Yeah.
But it ends up being funnier. And Airplane is actually a comedic remake, but not so, but very little changed from the original. But it's a comedic remake of the movie 0 Hour, like a serious film. But the Zucker brothers took the serious film and said, you know what, this could actually work as a comedy with very little change, and they made it Airplane. So, yeah, they did Airplane. So the Zucker brothers. So, and Leslie Nielsen started out as a serious actor, which is why his comedic timing works in these films when he's saying the comedic line seriously. But he basically plays Frank Drebin from Police Squad, who thinks Ricardo Montalban's character is up to no good, and he's like, he believes that there's a plot to assassinate Queen Elizabeth, but no one believes him because Ricardo Montalban's character is basically a pillar of the community, and, well, mayhem and comedy ensues in Frank Drebin's pursuit of Frank Montalban's character and proving that there is an assassination attempt against the Queen and how it's going to be, where it's going to be, and so forth. And in true Zuckerberg fashion, Murphy's Law, what could happen, happens, pretty much. There's a scene in this movie that actually, in real life, took place. I experienced a similar thing in real life when Frank goes to the bathroom and he leaves his mic on during that press conference, and you hear him going to the bathroom. When I was doing pre-deployment training, either Afghanistan or Iraq, I can't remember which one pretty much, but one of the Army sergeants giving the briefing left his microphone on. It's one of those ones that you like basically little mics you hook onto your lapel and you have the thing in your pockets, left it on while he went to the bathroom. So we all heard him pissing in the urinal while the other one is trying to continue the briefing, and the guy trying to continue the briefing couldn't do it Like he's trying to keep a straight face, and he just had to stop and listen because there's no way he could continue. And then like he just broke out laughing when the other sergeant came back. It happened. It literally fucking happened right out of Naked Gun. It happened. But yeah, Naked Gun had to make my list number 4. So, but that was like one of the best. Like it was Death by Briefings Day, but like it broke. Like at least that made it entertaining. Anyway, that's my number 4, Naked Gun. Your turn.
My number 4 is well, it's probably on your list. I'm pretty sure. I hope maybe it's my turn to fuck up your number 1 today.
What?
It's Die Hard.
You did fuck up my number 1.
Finally, after a year, I get to do it too. This is my day.
He wants a cookie, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah. Oh, seriously though, you fucked up my number 1 like 10 times. Well, actually, it means you're gonna do that today too. Well, shit, it's gonna backfire on me.
I don't know. Maybe not. I don't know.
No, I know it because I think I think my number 1 was on the thumbnail. And if this is your number 1, you're gonna fuck up mine. Anyway, Die Hard, which is a Christmas movie.
Yes, it is a Christmas movie.
The director said it was intended to be a Christmas movie. Then it is a Christmas movie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the director it takes place on Christmas. He's there to visit his wife because it's Christmas.
Yeah,
it's a Christmas movie.
It has Christmas music in it.
Yes, I'm saying it's like the Christmas is the reason he's going to visit her. So it's a Christmas movie.
Yeah. This really cemented Bruce Willis as an action star. He was actually the 3rd choice, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I think Burt Reynolds was the first choice, but he didn't want to do it, and I think he regretted it later. I think the 2nd choice was Michael Biehn.
Michael Biehn would have been good.
I think so too.
He would have been good, I think.
Yeah, but then Bruce Willis, who had starred in a show called Moonlighting, got the role. The rest actually is history because you can't do Die Hard without Bruce Willis now.
Are you talking about like where Hans is like falling from Yakatomi Plaza? The countdown thing? I love that. But yeah. But it is a Christmas movie.
Yeah.
Very much
and Alan Rickman's first movie.
Mm-hmm. And he plays the villain very well.
Oh, hell yes. He nailed it. Get an English stage actor to play the villains, and you've got it covered, right?
Mm-hmm.
But Nakatomi Plaza gets taken over by what seems to be terrorists, and Bruce Willis, who's a New York cop, is in the bathroom when it happens. He has to kick ass.
There's a Bob's Burgers episode where they like hold auditions for like students to pick what create a musical to do. And Gene has a musical version of Die Hard. And you'd have to appreciate the humor of Bob's Burgers, because the Gene character thinks he's more talented than he actually is. Yeah, and the Working Girl is the sister movie to Die Hard. So one of his songs is I'm a barefoot cop, pretty much, and other songs is Nakatomi, Nakatomi, Nakatomi. So yeah.
Well, I'll let you talk about it too, since it's your number 1.
All right. Yeah.
Also, because I need to fetch something to drink.
All right. Well, you still have to do number 3. So, did you start number 3?
Oh, I thought you were going to yap about Die Hard first.
I mean, I guess I could. So, but I don't. But what I So if you want to get a drink, so what I tell people, chats, is like those who try to claim that they try to claim that Die Hard is not a Christmas movie, and the reason they give you is because the reason I've heard people give is it's an action movie. It just happens to take place on Christmas. I say to you guys, like, this is what you do. Okay, this is what you do. You look them dead in the face and you say, "Is It's a Wonderful Life a Christmas movie?" And if they say yes, and you're like, "Well, it never was supposed to be a Christmas movie. It never was supposed to be a Christmas movie. Frank Capra never intended for it to be a Christmas movie, nor did he ever intend for it to be associated with Christmas. Because one, that movie was actually supposed to come out in the spring the following year, but got pushed forward because another movie the studio was doing was not completed by the time it was supposed to be. So It's a Wonderful Life released later on in the year, the current year, pretty much. It bombed essentially at the box office. Shocker, I know, but it bombed essentially at the box office and did not become associated with Christmas until it started airing on televisions in households when television became popular around Christmas time. But the movie itself was never intended to be a Christmas movie because it just happens to take place overall, because the main part of the movie is Jimmy Stewart's character wishing he had never been born, and it happens to take place on Christmas because it's more emotionally impactful around Christmas time. But if you look at the movie itself is basically the angel Clarence being shown George Bailey's life leading up to this point that just happens to be around Christmas time, where Bailey's at his lowest points. But the movie itself, I'm like, okay, if you think It's a Wonderful Life is a Christmas movie, well, I got news for you. It never was supposed to be. So if you think that about It's a Wonderful Life, then all right. If you think It's a Wonderful Life is a Christmas movie, then by that logic, so is Die Hard.
Oh, Lethal Weapon as well.
Yeah, Lethal Weapon as well.
You know what?
Now it's become associated with it as a Christmas movie, but it was never originally intended to be one. Frank Capra never intended for it to be a Christmas movie. It just became associated with Christmas time because it aired on televisions around Christmas.
You know what's kind of fun? Since Lethal Weapon and Die Hard are Christmas movies, Al Long got killed in 2 Christmas movies.
Oh, there you go.
2 years in a row. Yeah, that's like, nobody's going to top that, to die in a Christmas movie twice in 2 years.
Yeah. But it's interesting, Die Hard is a Christmas movie because Bruce Willis plays, his character is trying to reconcile with his wife. They're kind of estranged because she moved to the opposite side of the states because of her job, and he's a cop, so he stayed on the eastern side of the states, and he's going to visit her during Christmas time. And it just so happens the time that he chooses to visit is the time that these bad guys take over the plaza because they're pretty much going to rob the place. They need to get into the vault, and to do so, it involves them taking hostages and so forth. So, we're going to have to kind of be quick. So,
well, my number 3, I'm supposed to do that one. It's Naked Gun.
All right. Yeah.
We already talked about that, so.
All right. My number 3, I'll be quick with this, chat, because I have to take care of something. But my number 3 is an animated film. One scene emotionally traumatized me as a kid, but because I love dinosaurs and because very much nostalgia, I had to include this film. The Land Before Time. Land Before Time. Basically, obviously they're dinosaurs. All right, Littlefoot is a brontosaurus. Sarah is a triceratops. Ducky's one of those duck-billed dinosaurs. Petrie is a pterodactyl, and it's a Spike. That's his name. But anyway, basically they become separated from their families, and you follow them on their journey as they're trying to get from basically being separated from their families to returning to their families in this valley that Littlefoot knows about. Littlefoot was told about by his mother before she, and that was a scene. That was a fucking scene. It was with the mother because she's protecting him from Sharptooth, a Tyrannosaurus Rex, and so she dies in the process. And that scene fucking broke me. It was a yeah. So it's Dom like Bluth animation style, but like you follow them and like you come to like you connect even though they're dinosaurs, you come to connect with these characters because of like the personalities and how they kind of like learn to work together, and they realize like like again, don't judge a book by its cover and all that, and everything, pretty much every lesson like kids kind of need to learn in an animated film without beating you over the head with it. And well, that's pretty like, I'm again can't go into details, but that's like the overall premise of the film. And that one hits hard. That one hits hard, but I had to include it because I've always loved dinosaurs, and that was like kind of like my semi introduction to a dinosaur film, even though it was animated. My dad is not really a fan of it because he's never been a fan of talking dinosaur and films, but I don't care. I love the film. I love The Land Before Time. It does not change at all. Like change at all for me because the dinosaurs happen to be talking. But anyway, yeah. So, like I said, emotionally traumatized me as a kid the first time I seen it. It still traumatizes me even like years later because that scene alone just you choke up at it when it happens. It just still hits hard.
Never seen that one.
You probably won't have the same impact as those of us who grew up with it, but
No,
I enjoy it.
I might still enjoy it though, because I happen to enjoy animated movies in general.
Yeah.
Even though it's not a genre I watch often.
Yeah.
But I have a hell of a lot of respect for the people who made animated movies back in the day.
Yeah. Yeah, so you might enjoy it. It's called The Land Before Time. So
yeah, now I know one of them dies.
I know, but it's not like it's kind of like relatively early in the film, so it's not like a twist near the end or like happens near the end and like it's like I ruin anything. It kind of there's a it happens early enough that's.
I've actually seen some memes and stuff about it lately because I follow some 80s pages, and it's you think kids today have it hard and they haven't seen that, they didn't grow up with this movie or whatever.
Yeah, pretty much. That's how it is. But anyway, that's my number 3.
Yep.
So my number 2 might be ruining your number 1.
It will be. It's Willow, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, it is. I was like, fuck. It's like
you ruined my number 1. I fucking ruined yours.
Yeah, I was like, finally, it's my turn, and then like I realized,
oh fuck, she's gonna ruin
in
my
10 minutes. It's gonna flip around again.
Yes. So I'll let you talk about it since it's your number 1 right now. Because we already talked about Die Hard, so I don't have more to say. So Willow.
Here's the thing: a friend of mine had it on VHS, and I borrowed it from him. And my sister watched it with me. My little sister, who is just as old as you, so she's 64. She loved it and sent me back to my friend constantly to borrow it on her behalf, right? So, and she didn't want to watch it without me. So she used to like wake me up in the mornings and stand in the doorway and hold up the VHS, right? So I've seen this movie 50 times, and because of that, I couldn't. I had to put it on number 1, didn't I?
It's more nostalgia for me, like Trey, but I enjoy it because of the fantasy aspect.
Yeah, and it's a great fantasy movie. A dwarf finds a baby in the river.
Yeah,
as dwarves do, and then it turns out there's a prophecy regarding that baby, and the evil queen wants to get them, so they send them out of town with some dwarfs to protect it. They run into some fairies, like tiny creatures, not LGBTQ.
Yes.
And Val Kilmer was a swordmaster.
Mad Mardigan.
Adventure happens. Great stunts.
Val Kilmer and Joanne Whaley actually fell in love on this film and got married. Marriage didn't exactly last long, but they met on this movie and got married as a result.
Yeah, and if you have it on DVD and you watch it with the commentary track by Warwick Davis, he's basically pointing out every movie mistake in it. It's like, if you pay attention to the guy in the corner, that guard, he's wearing sneakers.
Yeah.
It's just pointing out everything. But great fantasy movie.
Yeah.
The follow-up TV show that
I
Disney
didn't bother
made.
watching it. I
Well,
heard what
you
they
can't
did.
now.
I know, but I didn't even bother when it was on. So like I heard what they did, and I'm like, not giving them the time of day.
It was so bad that Disney removed it and wrote it off as on their taxes.
Yeah, pretty much it was a tax write-off.
Yeah, George Lucas though and Chris Claremont wrote a trilogy of books that are sequels to this movie. So they basically fucked up Lucas's lore this time too.
Oh yeah. So yeah,
But
what lore?
Willow.
There are never any books prior to them taking over Star Wars. Anyway,
yeah, no,
we pretty much don't have to go over Die Hard, and I don't really have to give my input really on necessarily on Willow because like I don't think I have anything more to say than what Stig already said because Willow was my number 2. But
yeah, well, I still have my number 2 though.
So, what's your number 2?
Young Guns.
All right.
Based on the story of Billy the Kid.
Yeah, Billy the Kid. If you look at it, like his real picture was an ugly spud.
Yeah. But great cast. Well, all kinds of young actors are in this one. From that time, Emilio Estevez in the lead, who nails it. In my opinion, he's awesome. Charlie Sheen is in it. Was it Dylan McDermott?
Mm-hmm.
Kiefer Sutherland.
It pretty much was like the who's who of young actors in the 80s in Young Guns.
Yeah. Lou Diamond Phillips.
Mm-hmm.
Jack Palance playing the villain.
Mm-hmm. So.
It's even as Tom Cruise in it. You see him for a brief second because he visited the set,
mm-hmm.
and they dressed him up as an extra, so he gets shot in the movie. It's near the end when Billy comes out of the the trunk
mm-hmm.
and starts shooting, and one of the guys who's behind a crate has a big mustache and stuff that gets shot. That's Tom Cruise.
Yeah,
And,
this is like pretty much the who's who of like young male actors in the 1980s in this movie.
Yeah.
There's another movie that I almost added to the list that Lou Diamond Phillips, I believe, was in as well, and that's Stand and Deliver. So with Edward James Olmos.
In the second movie, they kill Bon Jovi. He's at the beginning. He gets shot and falls into the pit. So they did one of those in both movies.
Yeah.
So the sequel's good too, but it's different.
Yeah.
It's more of a being chased movie. But Young Guns, awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Really rewatchable as well. More of an action movie than a Western, even though it takes place in the West. Plays more like an 80s action movie, doesn't it?
Yeah. So, which works.
Yeah. The General Zod actor's in it too. I forget his name. Terrence Stamp.
Yes. So, was there a middle-aged Guns? No,
they didn't live long enough.
No.
However, I saw they're planning a sequel. If you check Emilio Estevez's IMDb page, it says Young Guns 3.
Wondering what they'll do, but
Well, the thing is, the old man that's telling the story in Young Guns 2 claims to be Billy the Kid. That he survived and all, so maybe they're doing something based on that.
maybe, but yeah. So sorry to like kind of speed through the last of like the movies, but I have to like take care of something like because so went a little bit longer than intended. But that's what happens when you're talking about actually things that you like to talk about and not cringe shit that we constantly see on X and other social media.
I've said it so many times on streams. You don't have to consume stuff just because it's new. Because if you go back and watch older movies that are great that you missed, right? When you watch it, it's new content for you.
Yeah, and not to call Trey out, but Trey like basically got like what 4 movies or something that he hadn't seen
Yeah.
as recommendations.
Yeah, we'll call him out. He missed 4 great ones. It's on him.
Yeah,
He's to blame. He has failed as a human being.
So, but that is our personal top 10 films from 1988, and next month will be the top 10 films from 1989. So I'm pretty
Which
sure
is a
you'll
good year again.
Yes.
Really good.
So like 88 was a decent year as well, but like 87 and 89 were better. I think better years as far as movies. Yeah, more Caden and Punishments. Yeah.
Well, you know what? Compare 88 to last year.
I'm saying like it's like
88 is fantastic compared to now.
Yeah, I'm saying like so compared to now, yes, but I'm saying like between 87 and 89, it was decent in terms of like movies, but like it's like 87 and 89 were like so maybe.
Well, it's gonna be Indiana Jones or Batman, won't it?
At least me in the chat might have the same number 1. But anyway, so before I say like my outro, Stieg, let everybody know again where they can find you and all that fun stuff.
Well, right here next month. Other than that, I'm sometimes on with Tommy and the Guinea Pig Collective, and sometimes on with Teresa. That's it. I'm not on anything regularly anymore at all. I'm sleeping at nights now, mostly.
Well, that's a plus. Let me just respond to this. Okay, and chat, yeah, obviously you can find me here. This is my main YouTube channel. I've been dual streaming on my Kick and Twitch, which I'll be doing tomorrow. This is my Kick, Jade Shadow. My Twitch is Jade_Fire. My plan is to play some X-Defiant since the patch supposedly fixed some shit that they claimed they were going to be fixing. Again, Gigawatts, again, if you're free, you're welcome to join. Cowman, if his internet is back up, he's going to be joining as well. And yes, rest in peace, Clobbering Times. So there's actually GoFundMe going around for his children on X. So if you follow that, why do I keep defying the X? I don't know. And yes, I'm nearly at 12K followers on Twitter, and all because I had accepted a challenge by a fucking bitch Kotaku writer who never responded to me.
You need to judo toss her in the bread aisle.
Yeah, I'm a gamer. I'm a gamer as well. Falcon. I play the Mass Effect games. I'm playing the Gears of War games.
D&D. She plays D&D too.
I play D&D. So I'm a tabletop RPG player.
I'll tell you one thing. The sexism is actually 60% towards the male and 40% the other way.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Kind of like that. So,
and
Discord. None of us whine about it.
This is my Discord. I broke down and created one because like Gigawatt, there are those that join me on certain games when they're like multiplayer games, so that way we can talk to each other. And I also do watch parties there. And Friday evening, I plan on doing a watch party of Shrek 2. Because I did a watch party of the first Shrek, so I'm gonna be doing a watch party of Shrek 2 Friday evening.
Shrek's fun.
Yes. So play is rate. Well, yeah, I'm saying I use that word loosely. Play. Depending on the game, I tend to rage more. Yeah, I need to get a Sonya Blade cosplay.
Her desk gets it during D&D.
This is what he hears.
Yep.
That's what he hears.
Well, actually louder because I'm wearing headsets.
I know, but like, I do that. I'm fucking kidding. Especially
I'm like rolling, and then Mara, you take 16 damage, and then
I hear this.
Okay. You are trying to kill me.
It's a pretty sturdy desk. It's lasted this long, but yeah, that's what he hears occasionally. I'm not planning on watching Shrek the Third, and I'm not planning on ever doing a watch party of Shrek Forever After. Just Shrek 2. Puss in Boots movies. Yeah, Last Wish could be a fun one too. I'm not ASMR friendly. Nope, I am definitely not. But anyway, yeah. But tomorrow I'll be live on my Kick channel and my Twitch channel playing some of the X-Defiant first-person shooter game, and then the watch party Friday evening on my Discord. Saturday, no stream whatsoever because I will be playing D&D with my siblings. Saturday, late afternoon into the evening. Sunday, Talk Nerdy to Us should be in the evening. 8:30 p.m. hopefully start time. I'm hopefully will be able to do a watch party of Clash at the Castle Sunday afternoon since I will be missing the opportunity to do that.
I have a question.
Saturday. I gotta get going. What?
Your siblings, are they calm people or are they more like you? Because I'm thinking if all of you play D&D, the table might get it.
They're probably in the scheme of things calmer than me, but my sister is close to me. My brothers are actually the calmer ones. Anyway, I gotta go, chat. But anyway, thank you for hanging out with us. So again, see you tomorrow on my Kick and Twitch for a gaming stream. So on that note, ladies and gentlemen, have a good rest of your day or evening wherever you are in the world, and we will see you all. Well, at least I will see you all tomorrow, and we both will see you all next month for the Good, the Fun, and the Weird, which will be taking on a different title, and the top 10 films of 1989. So take care, stay safe, and peace.
Bye.
You're still here? It's over. Go home. Go.